first one says, please, can I get some practical steps about how to go about starting an NGO which is directed towards mentoring and training men who are to retake the marketplace?
Okay. So I need to step into another office now. I think number one thing I would say is there are templates that exist. There are people who have done this time and again. The first thing I would recommend is find a template. Sometimes a template is written, sometimes a template is a person. Find a written template, find a person who has done a similar thing. Time is too short to begin to go through step-by-step way of setting up an NGO. Have a foundation set up, but beyond, go and register beyond, do you want to fund the NGO yourself? Do you want to apply for grants? So all of those things will require more data from you for me to be able to say, this is what you need to do. If you're starting an NGO that you have self-funding, it's a whole different kettle of fish. If you're founding one that you're applying for grants and funding for, how you set it up is different. Different corporate governance is required. The one you are funding yourself is your money. Nobody can ask Bill Gates, how is he spending Gates Foundation money? It's his money. The guy endows $10 billion to it every year. So nobody can. But if you are founding one that receives money from a foundation like that, you better have the right kind of governance. Even the one that you are funding yourself, you need governance. Otherwise, things will go missing. So it depends on which organization. But what I would say, just because of time, is to say find a template, written template, find a person that represents a template and follow it.
And the next question says, how do I know what to produce?
What are you good at? What are you good at? I always find that, in producing something, we always think we need to go and look for something foreign to produce. But every single one of us has a fruit in them. There's something that you do naturally that when people, to other people, it's like, look at what you've done. It's amazing. To you, you haven't done anything. That thing needs to be packaged. So that's where to begin from. I say to people every single time, what I'm doing here by the grace of God, apart from the fact that, okay, you carry an unction of God or grace of God upon your life, is that, naturally perhaps good at speaking. Now, if I've never packaged my speech or what I'm doing into purpose. Somebody else will take it and put it into a product. Do you know that Miles Monroe or Blessed Monroe, yes, anointed and all of that, it became a product. What was the product? Leadership, Kingdom, and Purpose. Those are the three. He had three products. How was it communicated? Mouth. And of course, knowledge. So what are you naturally good at? What do you excel in naturally that it seems to be difficult for other people, but you do it effortlessly? Some people is cleaning. When they clean, the king can use it. Some other people, they have a cleaning company, but when they clean, some people have cleaning companies, but when they clean, and they say, what is this? But somebody doesn't have a cleaning company, but when he cleans or when she cleans, like, I want to turn this into something. So produce something that you know that you have a natural tendency to produce. The other way is to produce something that people need. Look for something that is a demand. The world operates in the demand and supply environment. Right now in Nigeria, this is the best time to produce something. Why? Our currency is cheap. It's the best time to, well, it's true. Our currency is very cheap. There's no better time to export anything out of Nigeria right now than now. Because why? The people who are buying something from Nigeria will change the money to Naira. They get almost twice the value they will have gotten a year ago to buy the same product that they will have bought for now, twice the product that they will have bought one of last year. So if you have anything that is exportable that the world needs, Google it and just say, what are people buying from Nigeria? That becomes a production factor. And there's no better time to do it than now because our currency is cheap. So produce something that you're good at, produce something that people are willing to pay for.
The next question says, unbelievers are ready to do anything to dominate. So how does a believer win in such an environment where you are constrained?
Fantastic. First is that you're not constrained. So say I'm not constrained. So there's a, you see, unbelievers don't think they are constrained. They just don't think that, have you seen some of them? They just don't think that. So why should I think that I am constrained? He said, the earth has he given to me. And why would I think that I am constrained? I'm not. Because the word constrained already has constrained your mind to think you can't even do it. So there's a way you speak that even people you're talking to or they already know you can't deliver. There are people who have taken opportunities. They've collected things they've never done before. Can you do it? So we figure it out. They won't say yes, they can do it. We can put a team together. There are people who have bought assets they didn't have money for. I hope you know that they didn't have money for. They bought assets. Like one was recently concluded. One of the oil and gas companies exiting Nigeria. So the people that put it together at the time they were putting it together had no dollar. Money flows to value. Money flows to value. Everywhere there's value creation, money flows to it. So the first thing to look for is not the constraint of capital or environment, because that's the largest constraint that people have. Where is money? No. Let's talk about value. What is this thing and how would it attract value? If there's value there, money flows to it. So you are not constrained. Now, I do understand that there are people that win by all means, but there is an advantage that you have. Number one, there are things that you do on your knees that some people cannot do on their feet. The battle begins on the knees. Every time you recognize a domain that needs to be taken over, that needs to be engaged, it begins from here. That's our advantage. Some people, it begins with somebody behind one shrine somewhere. If they are playing those roles, why are you not playing yours? But we know that when it comes to power, when it tests out, yours will overcome. So there's no constraint. So I think that's the first thing you must understand. But there are rules. Number one is to understand that every sector, every industry, every environment has rules. Rules of engagement. What we find many times is that we don't study the rules of engagement, rules of application, rules of the process involved. So understand the rules. Number two is that knowledge is required. Never dabble into a space that you have not done enough homework or assignment in terms of just gathering the right knowledge. Extremely important. So the first few things to do is to just understand that you know this. So pound for pound, if you're having a conversation or engagement, they know that if it's about knowledge, you compete, you meet, or you are at the same level. And then the third thing is relationships matter, sir or ma. Who you know in this kingdom is important. Who knows you is also important. Who you know is important. Who knows you is important. In Nigeria especially, who you know is important. And who you know, what do I mean? Let's begin to form relationships. Believers, let's form relationships. Our alliances and relationships must be beyond the four walls of this house. And by the way, the King's Court, who you know in this place matters. Our Papa family, who you know matters. Who we know in the Redeemed Christian Church of God matters. I've found myself in places outside of the shores of this country, and the Redeemed member in Asia is the one in charge of a unit. An RCCG member. Malaysia, Singapore, Dubai, US, UK, Germany. Who you know matters. For those that are in supply chain management, they will tell you one of the fastest ways to distribute products is don't go and start setting up a new supply route, a new supply chain, find a system that already exists for distribution and layer your product on top of it. Let me give you an example, because sometimes I feel like we speak from here and it might look like this man is just quoting scripture. What has you distributed before? So, in Nigeria, let me tell you something. Most of the entities that make the most margins in enterprises are companies you hardly know anything about. I discovered this about 20 years ago, that noise is noisy. You can be noisy and be putting brands everywhere and pay for marketing. But if you can distribute a product or a service, or let it be layered on your platform and make a margin on it, you win. I'll give an example. So one of our products or companies, or a company 10 years ago that I started, is insurance technology. And what they did was to bring all insurance companies together in Nigeria. And what do insurance people do? And I'm giving this in response to that question. Insurance people like to distribute insurance. They want everybody to have insurance, including people that arrived this morning in e-hailing platform. How many people came in e-hailing platform this morning? You took Uber, you took Bolt, you took something. Okay, a few people around. Well, at least you've taken. How many people have taken before? Okay, almost everybody. So there is an insurance, just an example. There's an insurance product that needed to be distributed that every time you enter an Uber or a Bolt or a Lyft abroad, that product, that you as a rider and then the driver, you are covered. Now, to distribute this product ourselves means that we're talking to all insurance, we're talking to, what did we do? We just created the technology that allows for that ease of distribution. So as you make payment for your ride, there is a payment on top of it that is embedded into your fees already for insurance, which is why if you lose a phone, if you lose something in that thing, my company gets called to replace that product. You don't know it, you don't know the name, it doesn't exist, but every single payment that is made for riding on it is distributed. We didn't design the distribution channel, it exists, we just layered it. Coca-Cola didn't create a new distribution channel, by the way. There was a distribution channel that existed in Nigeria for distributing goods by the Niger company that the British set up. That distribution company, Coca-Cola, layered on top of it, built on top of it, supplied Coke to every house, every fridge in Nigeria and globally. So partnership, and look at what has already been done, build it and layer on top of it. So look at your industry and say, which one is the closest that I can layer something on top and just have your margin as you do it. God bless you.
Finally, someone would like to be an investor like you. So how does it go about?
Okay. All right. So, I think the first thing in investment is to understand your risk appetite. I hear people a lot when talk about investments and, you hear the good side of investing. We hardly talk about the bad side of investment. People you invest in and they use your money to go to Canada, for masters. They exist. Or those that just vanish. To be an investor, you must be ready to engage law enforcement. Yes, it's everybody. But just jokes apart. But those are serious things. So it's first to understand your risk appetite. Why are you investing? So for me, it came out of necessity. I just happened to be in a space where created a system that pulled in a lot of early stage companies. Some of them, many of us know. You use their products in Nigeria, Flutterwave of this world, and some and less known and things like that. Some apps where you can download it and buy global equities on their platform from Nigeria. A few of them that we all use in Nigeria. Because we are within that space where they come into our system to operate, it was natural to see some of them needing money at different points and say, since you're within my reach, I will raise either personal cash for you or bring other people in. That's the way it came about. So I didn't set out to say, I want to start to invest. No. I don't have that much money to throw around. But over time, it became institutionalized to the point that now run a fund that does direct investments in large projects, large companies across the world and all. So I think it's to understand why you want to invest and then go and do some study around how investments work, what asset classes are, what risk management means, what basic things around investing, asset allocation, portfolio management, risk management, custody of assets, all of those different things. But it starts with first, why do you want to do it? And does it align with your long-term goals? I think that's what I would say.
Thank you so very much. Everyone will be live. So we live,